Welcome back to The Edge. Big changes are coming for featured snippets. Universal Analytics real-time bug will remain. Another reason to go to GA4. What do scammers do when they grab up a popular domain? There are thousands of responses that state that Google search is getting worse. You're listening to News from The Edge for the week of April 25th, 2022, here on Edge of the Web Radio.
From the Edge of the Web studios, here's what we're looking at this week.
And we literally had a betting pool of how many takes it would take me to get through the intro. And you know what? One. That was one take.
One take.
Thank you very much.
One take.
Yeah, but we still have money on how many times you have to go through, like, get through the ads.
The confidence,
we're not there yet.
The confidence that the Edge team provides me each and every Monday. It's fantastic. This is Edge of the Web Radio. I'm your host, Aaron Sparks, owner of Site Strategics, digital marketing firm based here in Indianapolis, Indiana. We're covering SEO and digital marketing news each and every week, separate from our weekly interview where we interview special guests and be able to unpack some key concepts in digital marketing. But this news is coming to you even more quickly each and every week. So check out everything over at edgeofthewebradio.com. That's edgeofthewebradio.com. Welcome to the Site Strategics Digital Marketing News Desk damn it. You jinxed me.
I just, what money did I just make?
I don't know, because my deck's off. I didn't get the right deck.
Oh, nice one, Jacob. That's
Now
how we
it's
can do
on
this
me.
every week. Just throw his deck off a little bit. We can make some money.
That's the inside track right there.
Absolutely. Welcome to the Site Strategics Digital Marketing Desk of Edge of the Web. We're proud to have Site Strategics as the title sponsor of Edge of the Web. Our digital marketing team is excellent at results-based, agile marketing. We talk about that a little bit later in the show here. But if you want to check us out, go over to sitestrategics.com. That's SITE strategics.com. Mordy has come back to us after 2 weeks on walkabout. Basically, what was going on there? I mean, we were sans Mordy for such a long time. Mordy, head of SEO branding at Wix, is back in the fold. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. I'm sorry I was away.
Yeah, what was going on there, man?
I had to pick up my sister from the airport one week, and then it was a holiday the next week. But then you're like, how was it a holiday? You had Barry Schwartz filling in. I took off.
Oh, see.
I took a holiday on the holiday.
You vacation from your holy day. That's what you're saying, huh?
No, like there's intermediary days where you can do work stuff.
Oh,
But I took those off anyway.
got it. So
Then I had Barry fill in.
We didn't pay.
I figured you were down one Jew. Let's bring in another one.
It's kind of like Indiana
Can you use
Jones,
that?
right?
Is that-
Indiana
did they
Jones.
edit that out?
You have the golden aisle and the sandbag, right? Oh,
Right.
Wait a minute. I did not call Barry Schwartz a sandbag. He's the golden idol. How about that? I probably should actually just back away from this entire.
You mean the golden calf?
What's happening in Morty's world?
I don't know.
Bail me out of
What
this,
do
man.
I don't even know what we're talking about anymore.
Neither do I. So, how is Wix doing nowadays?
We're good. Thank you for asking.
You're more than welcome. All right, that's all you get.
Oh wait, no, I can bust out an announcement.
Give us an announcement.
Okay, so the last piece of fully customized structured data as being part of the Wix equation has come to Wix.
Fantastic.
You can now edit the out-of-the-box markup we create for certain pages, like for product pages, we create out-of-the-box markup for you. You can now edit that at the per-page level.
Beautiful.
So if on one page, one of your product pages, you want to create something different and customize it for whatever reason for one product page, you can now do that. You could have always done that with a dev tool we have called Velo, but now you can do that in the editor dashboard itself. So technically speaking, you were always able to do it, but now you can do it like really easily without knowing how to do code.
So you got product pages, you got blog posts, you got structural pages, you got all that nailed down.
So you can add multiple markups. You can customize the out-of-the-box markup at the page type level. So for all of your blog pages, so for all of your product pages, you could edit, customize the out-of-the-box markup we do for all of your pages in one click. All your product pages, let's say, per type. But now you can also do it per product page or per blog page or per forum page, whatever, or event or booking page, whatever page type you have.
All the pages.
All the pages fully customizable.
Fantastic.
That was the last one little thing that made it a little bit complicated because you had to use a dev tool to do that. But now that you can just do it in the in the dashboard. So now
and
it's
by
easy.
the way, you can also pass dynamic variable data through that same aforementioned schema editor as well. So you can drop in any number of variables in there.
Correct.
See?
Right. So if you,
I'm paying attention.
oh, I know. Wait, we pay you to.
All right, so let's pay attention to some news this week. From search engine land, from the Mr. Danny Goodwin, Google tests big changes to featured snippets. Check this out. Google's testing some significant changes to featured snippets. Both give searchers a more diverse set of sources in the coveted featured snippet position. So from the web, a typical featured snippet text from and a link to one website. This from the web test, Google shows brief excerpts from 2 or 3 different websites, linking to each source separately. We actually saw like 5 from the web listings at some point. I think Glenn Gabe was pushing that out on LinkedIn. Google also includes the site's favicon. There's an example of a screenshot above the people also asked feature. It was ExpressVPN review. One was from PCMag. .com, cybernews.com, as well as cnet.com. So all those were from the web. There's also a postscript, and there's an example as well from the web. Results in on a search with split finger fastball explained, and had 5 different sources with postscripts. So other sites say is also another feature. There's a variation in the feature snippet test where Google groups 3 sites beneath the typical paragraph style feature snippet under heading Other Sites Say. So it is a good deal briefer than the from the web listings there. So Barry actually reported on this a couple days earlier. What we're seeing here is a heck of a lot more real estate changing hands inside of the SERP itself. And I think these have a lot to do with most linked assets inside of newsworthy articles as well. Would you agree, Mordy?
For the featured snippet, I don't know if the news thing factors in.
Okay.
But it's freaking awesome if you're trying to get a link in there.
Mm-hmm.
Also, by the way, can I say I just spoke about this at Brighton SEO about Google's rewriting title tags forget about all the reasons why you think it's happening. The main takeaway is that Google's rewriting content. And then here you basically have Google rewriting content.
Yeah.
How appropriate. It's taking a little snippet from here, a little snippet from there, a little snippet from this website, and putting it all together into one feature snippet, offering the links to each one of the sources, but putting together basically a paragraph that sort of kind of flows from different sources. That's Google rewriting content. At the end of my talk, I'm like, this is going to have significant change. This is going to have a significant impact. The idea of Google rewriting content is going to have a significant impact on the SERP itself. And I even said, like, how? I don't know. Like, we'll see and wait. We just got to wait and see how it happens and how it plays out. Well, we only had to wait a couple of days to see how it plays out. Damn, that was so good timing, Google. Thank you so much.
It's almost like they were giving you an assist right there, right?
No, but seriously, Google's basically looking at multiple sources, pulling it all together into one paragraph. Like the ability for Google to understand content to the point where it feels comfortable to essentially rewrite content has tremendous implications for the SERP. Case in point here. By the way, they stole this from Bing.
Oh, really? Bing was doing this a good deal earlier.
Well, Bing has always had that carousel of like feature snippets, like multiple sources, like so. And I know, like back in the day, like it was Danny Sullivan for Search Engine Land writing about the inaccuracies of feature snippets. Ironically enough.
Oh wow! Full
right, and
here.
I always thought having multiple sources or what other sources say would take away from that liability of, hey, you got it wrong. Like, no, like here's one source, here's a bunch of other sources, kind of what Bing does, and that would be a great way for Google to get around it. Well, that's what they did.
Well, they're doing it from the web, and they're pulling in these. It's not even an extract. It's like one sentence here and there for all these 5 listings or these 3 from the webs. But they're also rewriting in the knowledge panel right now without any citation. And they are truly publishing content now. That was
that was the one. Yeah, that was the one that got me really right. Thank you. I was getting a little mixed up there.
No,
this is also a form of rewriting. Thank you for having my back. But yeah, the real one is when they're rewriting what would be the Wikipedia blurb.
Yep.
In a knowledge panel, but with no link, and just rewriting it themselves.
Exactly.
Again, multiple ways Google is reconstructing content from sources across the web. So good.
It's so good.
So,
And they're still
so
not considered a publisher at this point in time, right? Because they're doing the favor of boiling together a lot of these citable sources and making it much more trustworthy of a series of points of documentation. But isn't that the AI is taking charge so much that it's not even giving citations of where it's getting this information? I guess my point is they're citing here from the web. They also have most cited articles on news that they're actually pointing out. This is where we get all this information, but they're actually taking the publishing and having no citation and creating a trustworthy knowledge graph. I mean, isn't that a little bit of a demonstration of the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing on the SERP? Or is it just a bit of sending chaff over there or to be able to just, hey, yeah, you get some blue links over there, but we're actually going to be the authority of publishing curated content without any type of citation whatsoever. Sorry, on a little bit of rant there, but
no, I mean, I look at all of that as one thing. I mean, I think the highly cited thing of the top stories carousel is a little bit different. Like that's them trying to say like, hey, like, look, this is like the original source,
the verifiable stuff.
Yeah, like this is where they're getting the information from. Like, here's the original place to go. Like maybe there's some kind of unique information that you probably check that article also, because the ESPN article is really quoting the article from the Tampa Bay Times, whatever it is.
Right.
That kind of makes a lot of sense. And like, the case they had with it was actually about the Tampa Devil Rays. It was a baseball team, and the local newspaper being the original source, and the major news, the major sports news sites picking up that local source. Mm-hmm. That's a good example, because in local sports, the particular local newspaper or whatever it is has a lot more detail than the national website will cover. Mm-hmm. So it's great that they're offering that. Sidetrack, that was a sidetrack. Back to the main point. Google taking multiple sources and stuffing them into one paragraph in the featured snippet. Again, linking to each source separately and rewriting or whatever it's doing with that content, the knowledge panel, not having a source, but writing their own content, the knowledge panel is to me the same thing. It's Google feeling so comfortable with understanding content that it can either write its own content or it can take multiple pieces of content and for all intents and purposes, rewrite it or reconstruct it so that it makes one new thing with a new flow, which again is the same thing as a title rewrites. Like they feel so comfortable understanding they're rewriting your titles.
Comfort and without further and further referencing where they're getting that information. I don't think they're stealing the content though, the knowledge panel, whatever they're getting that from. Either they have a deal where they don't have to reference, sure,
or they are just they just have their own database of information that they've just created.
I think that's probably the latter, is that it's learning so much that it actually is now extrapolating, just like AI would, right? Extrapolating from all these different sources, ranking the hierarchy of that information, and then creating a judgment call on that information. However, we did see a mistake on the London Bridge and the Tower of London mismatch there in the knowledge panel. It's like, oh, no, I don't think Big Ben's a tower. It was
Big Ben's a football player, obviously. Ben Roethlisberger.
Well, I tell you what, Google's not going to be fixing here, and that's Google Analytics real-time reporting bugs with Universal Analytics. And from Barry Schwartz over at Search Engine Roundtable, Google has decided that fixing a known bug regarding real-time analytics inside of Universal Analytics product is not necessary because GA4 doesn't have the same problem. People are still going to be using Universal Analytics for a heck of a long time, Google. Google posted a resolution that is not really a resolution outside, telling people to switch to GA4. The resolution says we have not been able to fully eliminate the issue. That's interesting. Hey, you know what? Why not just punch a few holes in the UA boat, make it sync a little bit faster, so we can get everybody over to Google Analytics. Google actually added, knowing that this is an issue, that this issue is temporary and that Google Analytics 4 properties have an improved real-time report that does not suffer from the same issue. We're no longer seeking to resolve this issue. So if you're watching real-time, don't specifically know what the bugs are here, but evidently they're just not going to fix it. What do you think about that?
I mean, look, like it kind of makes sense that they're doing that.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and any if it was your company, you probably do the same thing. Let's be honest, right?
Sure.
Okay. Also, and I say this about data in general. Once you know there's a new trend, and then just follow the trend. Like, yes, obviously, in certain cases, the exact number of people live on the site right now matters.
Yeah.
But once you know what the threshold is, okay, we went down 10%, the new threshold is 10% less, then just focus on the trend. That's if you want to use the universal analytics, that would be my best advice to you.
I'll double down on
in general about data.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll double down on that for the sheer fact that we have always known that you don't have that level of accuracy at all.
No, right, yeah.
It's all sampling, and that's what GA4 is all about, is actually owning that space, so that you're never going to see all traffic all the time. Everybody, people have their JavaScript off, they have incognito, they got a number of different things that will prevent your visibility on your own website. So why fixate on getting as much accuracy in real time if you've never had it to begin with? So, I mean, there's a lot of complaints in the space, and there's a lot of complaints that GA4 was too early to be launched, and they're building things on the fly. And we talked to Krista Seiden, and fantastic project manager for GA4, and she recognized that there's a number of things that are still to be built, but there's a heck of a lot better scenarios that they've rolled out than some of the bugs or problems or the fixation on sessions and visits that UA has been rolling with for the last 20 years. So, not UA, but analytics in its totality. So, I mean, we need to move. We have to move, because it's where Google's taking us. There's no longer space where you're going to keep on looking at that data. Don't get fixated on the real time, but you're going to see a lot of these things come through that Google's just not going to support any of its products like that. If they're deprecating something, it's gone, and you might as well get out of there as quickly as possible, right?
Sure. I'm not stepping on that landmine.
That was bait here. He didn't take the bait, man. All right. Hey, we're proud to have Site Strategics as the title sponsor of Edge of the Web.
Don't screw it up.
Oh, there it is. We're pioneers in the agile digital marketing methodology. We have some core specialties in technical SEO, semantic SEO, social media marketing and management, as well as conversion optimization, results-based marketing that works. We also curate content here as we interact with our clients in the studio to be able to find some fantastic subject matter expert content that is black gold for SEO. So we actually do a very cool methodology of strategy and curation to be able to create some fantastic social media, blog posts, and structural content. So if you're interested in what we can do for you, give us a call at 877-SEO for web or 877-736-4932. All right. Boy.
There were some moments I thought you were gonna, you're almost like teetering on like not, having to do in a second take.
Yeah, this is all.
But you nailed it. You pulled it through.
Yeah, this is all about the comment I made about throwing peanuts at you with George Wynn on Bright.
What kind of guy does that? What kind of person are you? I speak at Brighton. It's a momentous occasion for me. It's a personal, milestone. Yeah, throw peanuts at you. I want you to come next time I speak. I'm throwing walnuts.
So that happened, right? I mean, it's all. If you got to be able to take the heckling. If you can take the heckling, then you have made it as a keynote.
Barry
speaker.
Adams did heckle me. He did
fantastic.
heckle me.
That's a beautiful thing.
It was great, actually. I had like a slide on the Steelers, and he heckled the Steelers. It was perfect.
Yeah, that's great. Well, congratulations on that. I don't think we've actually spoken since you presented at Brighton. Have we?
Only on DMs.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, of course we'll be there the next time, and we promise we won't throw anything larger than a baseball at you when you're on stage.
I'll smack that thing.
All right. You know what we need to smack down are the scammers that snatch up expired domains, right? From TechCrunch, from Hajay John Kemps, scammers are actually vexing Google, he says. Scammers and black hat SEOs have found a way around Google's sandbox period, quote unquote, that starts whenever a domain goes to a new IP. So, out of the gate, I think we're using sandbox a little bit differently than what's actually kind of known here. Sandbox is usually for new sites that are being created that you have a particular period of time before Google actually gives you indexing and visibility. But that aside, it's a good article talking about how scammers snatch up expiring domains, right? They'll actually grab a hold of it with a number of different registrar tools that are out there and then scoop up the site and then turn around and create a mirror of the site that they get back from the Wayback Machine. So they'll actually duplicate the site that it was originally on and then sit there and wait. And this is kind of like a public service announcement for everybody, is that as soon as they grab a hold of that domain, they'll camp on that until they see if there were any dips in rankings from the IP change. Then that subsides, or back in ranking, and then they start changing the content to affiliate links, to a lot of different advertising links to be able to monetize the heck out of that thing. And over time, they kill the domain. But more importantly, they're trying to capitalize on the good name that the previous domain, the domain had, and then just monetize the heck out of it. So a few people have lit up on this article, and we wanted to jump in there and talk about it. Really, for just the public service announcement side of things, is watch your expiration dates, because this is a real thing. People are doing it regularly. There's an entire marketplace called serp.domains, or Oddys, ODYS, or Spamzilla, or Juice Market. And this is an active business of selling these domains, along with full stats on the authority of these domains that they've had and when they actually expired. So it's a real thing. It's a real process. And if you're not paying attention to when your domain is expiring, it could happen to you. So that's about the size of what I wanted to do for this article. Morty, what do you think?
I mean, we're talking before the show. I mean, I'm not saying this doesn't happen. I mean, sites are doing this.
Yep.
I mean, there's a whole there's a whole market on this
for it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I would like to see stats and data on this, and how often it's happening, how successful this really is. It's like, yeah, PBNs, do the PBN, and then you'll be so successful. But like, I wonder how successful those really are, and how often they fail. You only hear about the success of having the PBN. But what about the times that that Google finds out and you're just destroyed? Because if you look at Google's more recent numbers around spam and spam brain, it seems like they have a lot of this under control. However, I would like to see the data and the numbers on this. I'm surprised that TechCrunch didn't support their claim with anything, really.
Yeah.
Other than just making the assertion. Because it kind of negates the whole idea of a Google algorithm update. Like, you've never seen a brand name site lose traffic in any of the graphs that Lily Ray or Glenn gave have shown? There's ever these like big sites. What about the winners? We always love these stupid stats. The winners and losers from all the algorithm updates.
Yep.
I know, because I put them in the post I do for Severance, because y'all like it.
Yep.
So we put it in there.
It all was due to domain expiration scammers. That's what happened right there.
But it,
you're right.
But I can't even get it out. It's like, obviously, Google catches on to the idea that even big brand name sites who are not doing any of this crap have irrelevant content, or irrelevant with certain keywords, or have decreased the quality of their content, or just completely whatever it is that they're doing.
Sure.
They lose rankings. So if it happens without this kind of crazy crap happening, just a regular algorithm update, regular core update, then with all this nonsense going on, you mean to tell me Google never catches on to this?
Yeah, exactly.
That's how the article kind of comes off. And I just want to put that out there.
Well, I mean, the point is that you got to make sure that, I mean, you're absolutely right. If all of a sudden you're peppering through the entire site affiliate links where they didn't exist before, and Google's going to be blind to that, I mean, come on.
It makes like no sense. Like, again, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, and I'm not saying it might not happen for a short period of time.
Yep.
And there's not a problem here or whatever. I don't have enough information to say yes or no about that at a large scale. Those sandboxes is a completely different concept that doesn't exist. But anyway.
Before I pull this car over and have a talk with you, let's go over and talk about our continued sponsor of Edge of the Web. That's inlinks.net. Did you know that entities play a major role in how search engines understand and rank content? No, evidently, scammers and squatters actually are doing all of the rank manipulation out there. Optimizing your content solely around keywords is a thing of the past. So now's the time to actually add entities and key concepts inside of structured data and get that into the mix so you can reach a much higher rank on your clusters of keywords using Inlinks, an award-winning software in entity SEO. Inlinks provides you with expert-level data to be able to build your content around any keywords so that Google can actually have a better understanding of your context of your article. So go over to edgeofthewebradio.com facebook.com/inlinks to claim your free Inlinks account and start creating content that will outperform your competitors. And I just want to say, guys, just talked to Dixon Jones over at Inlinks, and he mentioned a number of times where you are actually commenting that you've heard about Inlinks from the show. Fantastic that you're giving that type of feedback to our sponsors. So keep up the good work. Let them know where you heard us. And if you go over to edgeofthewebradio.com/Inlinks, INLINKS, that code gets passed over to them as well, so they know where you're coming from. So thanks to the entire listening audience to be able to support our sponsors. Thank you very much. All right, last article. This dovetails into a scrum that we had at the end of last year with Mordy as well as Andrew Optimizely. From Search Engine Journal, Roger Monti jumps into the fracas. Is Google search getting worse? Many seem to agree. A member of Reddit asked if Google search was becoming worse, and thousands of others responded overwhelmingly that Google search was not only showing what they were not showing what they were looking for. The SEO community on Twitter picked up the discussion and largely agreed. So again, we had a good sizable conversation about Google search getting worse and potential overreaches that we're discussing, and content rewriting, as well as featured snippets and lifting content. But there's some feedback in this particular article about content that seems to always be selling as opposed to informational articles with poor user experience. One sentence web pages, an example of a bad user experience that Google ranks are some of the listicle pages that force the user to keep clicking to read an article one sentence at a time. So there's a number of complaints in this space. Another Redditor agreed, what's the point of having a shopping tab if everything is shopping? So tell us what you think. And we want to swing around to this week's poll before we let Mordy out of the box and go off after this article. But we do want to make sure that we find out, do you think that Google search is getting worse? So yes, no. Mordy, what do you think? Is it getting worse?
Oh man, when I start this article, first off, love the fact that it's Reddit complaining about crap content. 2, wow, boy, that's anecdotal stuff right there. 3, no, I don't think it's getting worse. I think the algorithm's only getting better. Are there problems? Yes. Is Google perfect? No. Is it a vicious cycle, by the way, of people like the people who go on Reddit? I'm so trashing Reddit right now, right? Creating really crap content all the time. Yeah. Like, there's a problem. I don't like these articles. There was another article that came, I think, from the New Yorker about the same thing. Bashing Google about this. Look, let's zoom out. Think for like one quick second of how this all works. Okay. So web content is very different from what I would call other kind of content. Like you wouldn't see web content out there in a newspaper, let's say. You don't go to the New York Times like 5 ways to whatever, because web content is very different than the actual content. You wouldn't see that kind of content in a book. Obviously, if you read like the National Enquirer, so yeah, you're going to get very similar kind of content.
Sure.
Not bashing the people who read the National Enquirer, but that's fine as long as you're not on Reddit. Now, the problem is that back in the day, Google only had certain ways of understanding content. In fact, very, very limited ways of understanding content, indirect ways of understanding content. For example, PageRank is completely indirect. Like that's saying, hey, there's a secondary signal that if so many links from so many good sites, that must mean the content is good. It's a secondary signal instead of actually understanding content. I think we all understand that at this point. Wow, I'm really going off. But that incentivizes the limitations of the search engine's ability to understand content. Limits the ability of the search engine to get rid of certain bad content or reward good content, which creates an incentivized or a circle of incentification. If that's a real word, doesn't matter. If Google's ranking X because it can only understand content to X degree, then I will now create X content because that's what's ranking.
Kind of an echo chamber.
Correct. So it's a vicious cycle. Google was able to, back in the day, was able to understand X. So you're like, all right, so I guess I'm not going to waste my time writing good content. I'll just create this listicle.
Exactly.
It's a chicken and the egg, like which came first kind of thing. Like, I mean, I guess Google I guess it's not a chicken and the egg because in my scenario, Google came first, but you can't really blame Google because you can't invent technology out of a hat.
It's
Like,
a circle of circle of incentivization. That's what it is.
It's a circle of crap.
I just want to hear the Disney song, Circle of Incentivization.
Yeah, I think we need to get Elton John on this.
But you get what I'm saying? So no, as Google's able to evolve, they get better at understanding content.
Yep.
So that does create very slowly a new incentivization circle of writing somewhat better content to align, right? So it takes time for this to happen. I think the fact that you haven't seen it fully come around to the extent of Google's able to reward good content just means that I think it takes time for people to realize, hey, Google's doing X, Y, and Z. Now I need to create different kinds of content. You hear the way SEO still talk about content. I think they're way behind the curve on this.
That's right.
So to just come out and like bash Google, like that doesn't make any sense to me. That's a very narrow understanding of how the web, how content, how the incentivization circles have developed.
Well, that kind of dovetails into your Twitter thread that you had today, where you're talking about content and intent, and the only way that we're going to get better results is if we have an intentional focus on better quality content. Because if you're still throwing junk food at Google, Google's going to give junk food back to you as it's processing. Well, I guess you guys want this type of content out there because that's what you're writing.
That, like, it's a larger problem. It's all they have. Like, I think that people don't realize there's a content gap.
Yeah.
Yes, Google can serve 4 million gajillion bazillion results in 0.3 seconds, but how many are actually good?
Yeah, there you go.
How much good content is actually available? What do you do as an SEO, right? Where you create kind of go see what the competitors do, we can make it slightly better. That's not actually how to create content. So it's hard for me to say or feel sympathetic to, like, yeah, let's get on Google when the SEO world is basically saying, here's how you create content, which is basically create slightly better crap than the crap that's already out there.
Less smellier crap, right?
Like, yeah, like it's like, you know, it's not diarrhea, it's slightly more solid.
There it is. There's the Morty.
And that's our quote to lead off the show.
Well, Google did have a response to this and offered Search Engine Journal a response there. We're constantly making improvements to our system, 5,000 in 2021, based on more than 800,000 quality tests. So while Reddit is actually complaining, right, anecdotally as well, you've got 800,000 tests that, and we talked about this last week. Barry brought that up in 1 year, okay, to make better quality presentation of information. So there's your engineering right there of how it's trying to improve. So if it's trying to improve based on, again, crappy content, you're still going to have testing on crappy content. So we as an industry, as a society, need to create better information for it to actually digest, so it actually has good fiber going to its body, right?
Exactly. Also, I'll just like make one like last point, like serious point.
Yep.
Give me 10 minutes and I can find you a set of really crappy results that Google doesn't get right. Like,
sure.
Like, so take everything you see in this, like, you know, out there, especially on Reddit, with a grain of salt. Also, sorry, last point. The major takeaway I have from this article is that the banner ad, the hero image for the post, the banner for the post, the stock image guy looks so much like Simon Cox, right?
It really does.
Right?
Yeah. I don't see Simon Cox wearing a suit like that, though.
I don't know, but he must have a second career of like stock image model. Right, Simon?
All right. We'll give him that. All right. So with that, we want to make sure that you improve your career by jumping into every Thursday's 1 p.m. Eastern SEO chat on Twitter, hashtag SEO chat. And who do we have hosting this week?
SEO Arcade's own Jeremy Rivera.
Ooh.
We're talking about SEO ROI, and he has an interesting format for this week's chat. So I'm not going to spoil it. Check out SEO chat, 1 p.m. on Thursdays. Cool. This Thursday on Twitter, hashtag SEO chat.
We want to be part of that one because that's one of the key concepts that really is tough to be able to equate to. A transaction-oriented client is that stock investment of SEO. Fantastic. Good job getting him in there, and that topic's going to be cool. All right. With that...
Wait. Yes. No, wait.
What's that?
We forgot one very important thing.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Who won last week's poll? All right.
That's
so
right.
we had a poll out there for episode 493. We asked our listening audience between Rusty Brick and Mordy Oberstein, who should be the co-host of Edge of the Web, and a completely non-resounding lead that Mordy had. So Mordy won it by a nose. What was that? 53% against 46. Yep. All right. So
100.
something like that.
It's
Okay.
52.5 to 47.5.
All right, fine. So I'm not reading the data, but neither was TechCrunch. So
well, they didn't have any. So what was the reason?
You're much closer than TechCrunch.
so Morty's sticking around, and that was the non-official voting off the island. But
That's official. What do you mean? That's Twitter. Everything on Twitter's official. It's not Reddit. I just want to say Barry. I voted for Barry, so
You
that's
did.
one more vote for.
That's
I voted for
absolutely
Barry.
right. And on top of that, you lit up a fiber just to make sure you insured yourself, right?
But the important question here is, do we have to do the
Metamucil,
poll
absolutely.
again? Do we have to do that poll again after Musk takes over?
Exactly. That's
I
where we're
don't
going to
think
get
it
some real,
counts.
true information. As
I
soon
don't
as
think it counts.
Yeah, that's what you're gonna get with that.
We'll call
I
that
just
an
wanna
old
say-
Twitter poll.
Just want to say, Barry, SE Roundtable, more like SE Squared Table.
oh,
I win.
God,
I'm out.
we're done.
That's it.
That's it for Edge News. Thanks so much,
I'm going
Morty.
home.
It's like not even a dad joke.
It's a race. I'm winning.
Tiger blood. All right. Thanks so much, Morty. Appreciate your time. Thanks for coming back around. As we throw peanuts at you and vote you off the island, you're like a bad penny. You keep on coming back around.
The people have spoken.
That the people have spoken. All right, so go track Morty down at Mordy Oberstein and Twitter, and check out Wix as well, because they're doing some great stuff over there. Make sure that you check out the second part of the Johnny Ross structured data episode, where we dig into more implementation and testing of success for structured data and schema. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel when it gets updated and when we go live next on the channel. Also, rate this podcast.com/edge. It's great to be able to give us some feedback on how we're doing. Let us know how these shows are benefiting you, and if you agree with the Twitter poll, because we want a second opinion on it. So go over to ratethispodcast.com/edge and let us know how we're doing. From all of us over at Edge, stay safe, stay well, and do not be a piece of cyber driftwood. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.